Just a quick preview of this video before we go forward, so make sure you guys watch the entire video. We're going to be talking about how it is that the NHL may be coming to a decision to end this whole pride nonsense, why it is they may be ending this pride nonsense, also talking about the state of hockey at large, and also to end this video, I'm going to be giving you guys exactly how it is that I think that this right here has affected both the players and the fans alike, and why it is that the NHL is probably starting to see that this entire pride thing was just a great big giant waste of time. It looks like the NHL has finally listened to the crowd. And what I mean by that is that they have finally said, you know what, maybe it's a good idea that we just drop this whole Pride Night ordeal. What is up, gang? John Claymore here, and we are talking about what the NHL is considering to do, and I gotta say, I'm rather pleased. However, don't completely hold on to the fact that they plan on canceling it. I'm pretty sure that whatever this is probably temporary, but still at the same time, though, thanks to all of you out there sharing these videos, moving these videos around, hitting the like button, and of course, showing how the NHL how you feel about this entire ordeal. It looks like we may be seeing a bit of a temporary halt. Now, guys, in this video right here with James Reimer, I showed, I think it was the girl's name was Sloan, Tara Sloan. She did a bit of an interview about him saying no to going out there in a Pride jersey. And, of course, what she said was that she felt there was a bit of a revolt in the NHL. Of course, this right here was a fear that she had, even though her Twitter bio has basically a Pride flag in it. Of course, it's done in sand, but still at the same time, though, I'm pretty sure if you guys saw that Twitter account, you would probably get the point. So this right here is coming from the NHL commissioner. NHL, I think it's this, yeah. So basically what is going on is that the NHL is looking at the fact that a lot of players, not just a lot of players, but a lot of fans are turned off by this. Now, as I said before in other such videos, all of which will be left in the description box in the comment section of this video here, I said that the NHL has a very international body, meaning that you have a lot of Russians, you have a lot of Eastern Europeans, you have a lot of people from European countries that are not exactly down with this type of stuff. It looks like the United States has just gone full-blown gay is what they have done. And basically, it's turning off just about everybody. Not to mention the fact that I mentioned before that a lot of these countries have anti-propaganda laws, meaning that certain types of lifestyles are not permitted in those areas, and they don't exactly live in this country, meaning the players themselves. A lot of them live in areas that basically ban this type of lifestyle or look down on this lifestyle. So the last thing they would want to do is go home to these areas and then turn right back around and face some type of scrutiny or scorn from the people they live with. The whole experiment here was really just a great big giant waste of time. Now, guys, I got to kind of like temper my language here, but the thing is this right here. When I talked about propaganda laws in these countries, basically what I'm talking about is the woke propaganda. Like Russia, for example, they're not exactly, how do I say, okay with this type of lifestyle. So you got to think about something really quick. Let's say that you are a player that is from Russia. Say you're Provorov or Lubushkin. Let's say you're him, and you go back home to Russia. I mean, you could even be someone like, say, Evgeny Malkin. He used to play for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Maybe he still does. Like I said, I've not been as big of a fan of the NHL in a while. I haven't really kept up with it as much, mostly due to the wokeness. Also, not to mention the fact, and I'll be mentioning this right a little bit later on in the video, how it was that the NHL, for whatever reason, decided to cut broadcast for a while and basically put all the games on NBC Sports. We'll get to that here in a second. But the thing is this right here. This type of lifestyle is not looked, not looked up upon, meaning that it's actually looked down upon in these countries. They're not exactly okay with this type of lifestyle, nor would they be okay with their players or people who come from their country, who represent their country in the United States. They would not be okay with said individual wearing a symbol of a lifestyle that they're not exactly good with. And I think that the NHL, regardless of them saying that is turned to a sideshow and it doesn't really matter, they're not telling you the real truth here. The truth is this right here. These guys know exactly what the hell is going on. They just don't want to freaking acknowledge it, if you guys are kind of picking up on my drift. Now, guys, really quick. I haven't seen any figures on the NHL losing any actual money. The biggest reason why I think the NHL is considering dropping Pride Night is because of incidents like, say, the New York Rangers saying, no, we're not going to wear these jerseys. Or Ivan Provorov saying, look, I'm not exactly down with this. And then, of course, John Tortorella doing the smart thing, coming out and calling these people out on their hypocrisy. John Tortorella, by the way, he is the one who said, look, if I catch any one of you guys not standing for the national anthem, pretty sure you guys remember that comment. Tortorella, of course, in his post-game interview after that game, basically said that he felt that he was wrong. Of course, he was obviously being a very, very... let's just say he was being kind of smug to kind of throw it back at the smugs, which is for the most part what the liberals in this country are. They're very smug. A lot more people who were liberal are now beginning to identify as moderate and conservative because they feel that way because of how much the progressives have completely eroded our society. They've gotten a hold of the corporations, and now every time we turn around, we're seeing this stuff in our face. Also, not to mention the fact the New York Islanders also said no to this. I want to say the Minnesota Wild also said no to this. Fact of the matter is that the NHL is starting to see a bit of a problem. It's not just with the teams and the players, but also the fans too. Now, guys, let me say this really quick. And this right here is probably, I'm pretty sure any true hockey fans that are seeing this, they're probably going to remember this period. So bear with me on this. At one point in time, the NHL, when it was Wednesday night hockey, they also had Monday night hockey at one time. They also had Tuesday night hockey, Thursday night hockey. On ESPN, certain games would be featured. Typically, it was the Red Wings and the Avalanche. Basically, must-see TV. Every time these two teams hooked up, you had the famous fight between Chris Osgood and Patrick Waugh. It was one of the very first moments that I remember in my at that time, I was probably about 12 or 13 years old. And it's one of the things that got me hooked to hockey. Now, guys, me being a hockey fan did not last that long because I am a fan of all sports. I'm pretty sure I explained to you guys in one video that how I became a Philadelphia Flyers fan was a very, very simple, stupid way. I played the game, I think it was NHL Face-Off 1998, and I didn't know how to use the bar on how to choose other teams. So I'd always choose the Philadelphia Flyers because you would always get the two teams that were in the previous Stanley Cup Finals. So I figured, which my real name is Paul, okay, P, Flyers, okay, there you go. Very, very simple thing. Well, a lot of people, especially casual hockey fans, were not able to watch the game like they wanted because somewhere in the early 2000s, ESPN chose not to showcase games anymore. And you had to go to NBC Sports, and it was typically like one or two games a week, and that was it. Unless, of course, it was the Stanley Cup playoffs. Now, hockey was going through a bit of a dead period. Now, hockey, of course, they had a really good NHL playoffs recently. And let's just say some sports organizations are starting to catch on to this. Well, ESPN is very woke. And, of course, ESPN has been featuring more NHL games as of late. Not just on NBC, but obviously ESPN has kind of taken notice and said, look, maybe we should showcase another sport from time to time. They are actually doing a lot less baseball, too. So casual NHL hockey fans coming back to see the game, to see the sport, they see what we love about hockey. They see a bunch of men on a slab of ice slinging a puck around. Obviously, emotions occur. Fights obviously break out. I understand that I'm not a guy who's very, very pro-fighting, but I am a guy who's pro-passion. These guys love their game. They love their craft. They love their art. And the last thing they would want to see is, let's just say, the pride logos everywhere. They don't want to see this. They don't want to see woke sports. Now, ESPN is kind of sort of beginning to figure this out, hence the fact that they're suffering because they're laying off 7,000 employees. I wonder why that would be. Well, when you constantly throw race narratives and crap at people, after a while, casual fans will just cut it off because they will automatically assume that it is one or two things. It is purely political propaganda, or number two, it is strictly entertainment. And if you think it's entertainment, then you might think the entire sport as a whole is fake. Meaning outcomes are rigged, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And after a while, people say, look, what is the damn point? However, the pride stuff upsets a lot of people going into these arenas. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, but don't mostly liberals live in these big cities? Yes. However, it is not always those who live in bigger cities who go to a game. We'll take my team, the Philadelphia Flyers, for example. And I'll even use the Carolina Hurricanes, seeing how I live in North Carolina. I was a Flyers fan before the Hurricanes became a team. I still root for the Hurricanes on the side, but let me just kind of give you an example of what I mean. If you're living in, say, Philadelphia, you've got the 76ers, you've got the Phillies, you've got the Eagles, you've got those games to go to. Going to sporting contests are pretty damn expensive. However, you do have little niches of people who would say, you know what, I think this time around, I think I'll go to the Flyers-Rangers game. It's being held in Philadelphia, which is being held at the Wells Fargo Center, or maybe it used to be called, I haven't really watched hockey as much recently. But you got people who may decide to budget for that there. By the way, tickets are not cheap. They're not cheap at all. Last thing you want to do is pay $80 to $120 to go see something, and all of a sudden, what the product you see completely conflicts with your personal beliefs, your personal lifestyle. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian or not. There are a lot of people out there who are just sick and tired of the woke crap, sick and tired of the woke nonsense. It takes away from the game. It makes it political, and people just don't want to be around anything that's political. It's just the way that it is. Also, something else, too, and I'll use this example with Carolina. The Hurricanes play in Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay, it's about an hour and 15 minutes away from my home. People from where I live at, the city I live at, and they live in the surrounding cities of Raleigh, they're more than likely going to be the ones to go to a hockey game. Now, in North Carolina, the thing about us is that we don't have a professional baseball team. We do have the Carolina Panthers, and we do have the Charlotte Hornets. Of course, the Hornets do, in fact, suck, so nobody's going to go see those. And you've got a lot of college basketball games. Carolina, Duke, NC State, very, very rich history when it comes to NCAA basketball. Those tickets aren't cheap. Well, the last thing you're going to want to do is show up to an event that preaches politics in front of your face. I'm pretty sure that Republicans, Democrats, independents, moderates alike can all agree with this. By the way, progressives, they typically tend not to watch sports, so why the hell are you pandering to them? So maybe the NHL is finally seeing exactly what it is that guys like myself, guys on the internet, there's also another channel called Behind the Line, I'm pretty sure these guys are starting to see exactly what it is that we're seeing, that maybe this entire whole pride thing is just a great big giant waste of everyone's time. Guys, with that right there being said, John Claymore, if you guys like this content, please hit the like button so that way this video will go viral. It will actually reach people. Also, if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. I talk about just about anything that involves the woke faction, and of course, we got to push back against this. And please leave a comment in the comment section. I would love to get you guys' thoughts, and I will see you guys later.